TechCrunch.
Hey, we're still here at TechCrunch, and we are with Kарлos Bola of Kikin, who just kicked off the panel on Mobile Zero.
Well, it's going to be coming, but yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about Kikin?
So Kikin is a contextual search for mobile devices. So as distinct to what you would use in a typical search engine, which is ad hoc search, something comes to your mind, you type it in. Imagine you're consuming content from a browser or your SMS or email or a downloaded app. You see something, you are interested in learning more, or you're interested in doing something. You see a name that you might want to call, or somebody might want to send an email to, or something like that. So any learning or action trigger, how do you automatically get an answer? And so you touch to search. So we literally allow you to touch anything, any text that you see on any screen, lift your finger, and immediately comes search answers.
That's a great pitch. Made me interested. So what brought you to TechCrunch Moscow? I mean, apart from the organizers inviting you, why did you think that you had to come to Moscow?
So I didn't come to TechCrunch. Different reasons for coming to TechCrunch than coming to Moscow.
Okay.
Coming to TechCrunch, my friend Edward Chenderovich invited me to have give my opinion about where mobile is going, and that we will hopefully do with the audience shortly. But in addition, as we expand in markets, we actually Kikin as a US company, but actually we launched first in Europe. We launched with our partner Vodafone in England, Germany, Ireland, Spain, and we are looking at markets that could be relevant for where Kikin, markets that are, if I may, leapfrogging the mobile experience where Kikin can fit. We also, in those markets, work very closely with leading content, monetization, and search providers. So of course, here in Russia is one of those unique markets where Yandex has an independent position that's formidable, and we have tremendous respect for those guys. And so they are a potential partner of Kikin. So that's also part of my reason.
So when you're evaluating new markets to go to, which are the three main aspects of a market that you would consider?
Well, in our case, it's typically very easy. First of all, what's the number of mobile devices that are in that market, and specifically the smart devices, i.e. The high-end devices, so that, that are really information and content intensive. The second is the economic intensity of that market. So what is the disposable income in that market? And the third for us is, do we have a partner that we can launch and serve customers very competently in that market? So for example, here in Russia, a prerequisite would be a mobile operator like an MTS, would be an OEM provider like a Samsung, and our content and monetization partner like a Yandex.
Great.
So number of devices, economic intensity, and partners.
Partners. Is it in this particular order, or is it's probably, you need all three to coincide?
Yes, that's correct. So for example, obviously, the thing about search, and a lot of people don't really recognize, it's not as easy to recognize because Google has done such a good job, is search is very language driven. So doing search in English is very different than doing search in German, which is very different than doing it in Spanish, different than doing it in Chinese or in Russia, for example. And so typically having that local competence, that natural language capability is very important. That is the most important partnership for Kikin, as opposed to the mobile operator or the OEM. Because ultimately we are on, we're on Samsung, HTC, Lenovo, whatever devices. But the content, commerce, and monetization partnerships are very important for us. So that's how we do it. So we tend to look at things that are adjacent to what we do very well, and then we go after them.
Yeah, makes sense. And just to give our viewers here a sneak peek at the panel that you'll be a part of, what do you think are the hottest mobile trends for 2014?
Well, I have a very different view to mobile than I think than many people have. The first point I make is we talk about smartphones, but these phones aren't smart. They're actually powerful, but they aren't smart.
Dumb powerful
They're
phones.
relatively dumb phones. When I open my phone, I'm really looking for people, places, or things. And I want to do relatively simple intent-driven actions. So why do I need an address book in my mail calendar that's separate from my address book for SMS? It's just nuts. So this interface, which is all coming up to soon 10 years old, is now, it's dead, it's over. So I hope that in the next 2 to 5 years, somebody, and likely somebody either from the Valley or somebody from a new emerging leapfrog mobile market, like Russia, like China, will create a completely different mobile device with a completely different mobile experience.
Do you think that this sort of innovation will come from an established giant on the market or from a startup?
I keep thinking, first of all, innovation happens anywhere. I wish I knew the secret of where innovations happen. I think it's going to be less about, and I think also innovations are being unlocked commercially, because today the cost of capital to create a company is much lower. So for example, if you look in China today, I would argue the company that's innovating most in terms of experiences is a Chinese company called Xiaomi, that most people don't know. Still operating off of a lightweight Linux kernel-based operating system, but they actually have this high rev, high release cycle where the audience is actually, the customer base is changing the experience. And those innovations are coming from China. And it wasn't an established company. Okay, now it's several $1 billion of market cap. But the point is, we will probably get that it could come from 2 kids in Norway, like when we invented SMS, as easily as it could come from Johnny Ive at Apple. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm actually very excited for this change, because I think this experience is on its last couple of legs.
Right.
The new one is going to be better.
Well, I hope you're true, and Kikin will take part in this evolution. That's more of an evolution, isn't it?
Well, no, I think not. I actually think this is actually, for me, evolutionary is like a new Oreo cookie. You make the strawberry cream. I think it's revolutionary. I think it's really, it really is not going to necessarily be continuous with what we are doing. It's going to be continuous with regards to the back-end infrastructure. So the networks that talk to these devices are still going to have continuum. But I'm not convinced that the experience necessarily should follow a continuum. I think it will be breakthrough.
Yeah, well, we need revolutions from time to time.
Yes.
Especially in Russia. Thanks a lot, and I hope you find the perfect partner to launch Kikin here in Russia.
Thank you very much.
Maybe here at TechCrunch.
I hope so too.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
TechCrunch.